Hello everyone, welcome back to the Pearl Atelier. I hope all of you are doing well. I decided to do this video on the red jade because I have some new subscribers coming to my channel and I'm truly grateful for that, as well as I've added a few pieces to my red jade collection. So the red jade is one of the most rarest colors there is in the family of jade, and I actually wasn't really interested in it. And when I did this started this channel, I thought I would share my love for jade with all of you. And then I was actually surprised to find that the jade bangle that I have here is actually a red jade, because I always assumed it was a red agate and I totally ignored it. First of all, also because it's way too big for my wrist, because even now you can see that there is quite a big gap when I'm wearing it. So this one was actually gifted to me by my aunt. She is my mom's sister, and she has always been such a great influence in my life. Every time when we visited Korea and we would go to her house, this is the most the photograph that really impresses to me from a very young age what she means to me. She is extremely fashionable and she is a very successful businesswoman. She has run a restaurant and a boutique in the past, and her house would be filled with antiques, very beautiful and expensive furniture, and she would always be very beautifully dressed and complete with jewelry. And the difference between her and my mom is that my mom would always go for the classic style. My aunt would be much more daring and flamboyant. So she gifted me this jade bangle when I was in my teens, and I treasured it, but I didn't really wear it or think much about it because it was really too big for me. Because even now, yes, as you can see, it is quite large, quite a big gap, almost an inch of gap in between. And I've been trying for so many decades to find a jade bangle of this color to replace this one, and I have failed. I have gone to so many jewelry shops even when I'm traveling, or I have even bought one on the internet once, and when it came, it was a horrible color. You can immediately see that it was dyed. So I just gave up and I just decided I'm just going to be wearing this probably for the rest of my life, because the color is absolutely fabulous. This is such a fabulous A-grade jade that I've seen, and now that I have seen how difficult it is to find very good quality red jade, I appreciate it even more. I've actually done 2 videos on red jade. I mentioned that it is in the color of cognac red, so I always prefer this sort of a color because this is the old school color or the archaic color of red jade, which actually resembles a red blood or the ox blood, sort of like emulating the ox blood color of the porcelain ware that was made famous during the Northern Song dynasty, and then emulated and perfected during the Ming and then the Qing dynasty. So red has always been a very expensive pigment and color, very decadent, and usually even in the imperial palace it is worn by the Dowager Empress or the Empress herself, not so much by the concubines. They may be wearing it maybe in very small variations with other gemstones, but the main one usually would be worn by the Empress or the Empress Dowager. So this color is very coveted because, as I mentioned, it is associated with everything that is decadent, everything that is imperial. So this one was the very first one in my collection, which was gifted to me, as I mentioned, in my teenage years, and then I've taken over many years to complete this collection. And then the second one that I got was this jade ring. I was very much into period dramas, and then I was very excited to find that they do have reproductions of the archaic type of rings that they wore during the Joseon dynasty. So this one is an exact replica, an example of how jade rings would have been fashioned in the past. It is quite chunky, as you can see, so you cannot wear it for like everyday wear because it is very heavy. However, I got this because it is in the exact same blood red color as my jade bangle. The reason why I'm doing this video is because I recently added this butterfly brooch as well as this pair of earrings. I've also done another video where I showcased my latest pendant in the shape of a rose. That one also is in the same color scheme. I noticed that a lot of modern red jade tends to be more ruby-like in color, and that one, the color doesn't really appeal to me because when you look at it, it actually sort of looks more like a ruby rather than a red jade. So for this particular brooch and this pair of earrings, I purposely got them because they are from the 1970s period. I always am drawn to jade that are of a certain period or time frame because they have a different type of aesthetics to it. And this jade bangle is actually from the 1970s period. So when I saw this pair of earrings, I knew that I had to own it. It is very difficult to get this color, as I mentioned. When it arrived, it was actually more rustic brown in color, not too deep of a color or as intense as the rest of my red jade jewelry. However, because it is from the 1970s period, I decided to keep it because it's very difficult to get hold of this sort of an aesthetics, and I really wanted to add something from the 1970s period to match together with this bangle. And I've also done a video recently where I featured a pair of earrings from the 1980s period. You can see the different type of aesthetics. So this is definitely from the 1970s because 1970s, before they moved on to the 1980s, where they're mass producing jade in a much more modern way. This is pre-code 1980s, where the earrings are still made up of a very generous portion of jade, and this is sort of like in a C curve. And what I love about it is the very distinct geometric oriental design on the hardware of it. It's made up of silver. It has a clip-on plus the pierced plus the piercing, so that you have that double lock system, which I absolutely love and which I think is very essential for this sort of a chunky pair of earrings. I also got this pair of earrings instead of like a dangly type of earring, so that if I want to wear something maybe during the daytime or to the office, it's not too over the top, I can actually wear it. And then I also found this brooch at the same time so that it looks like a set. As I mentioned, I always prefer jewelry to be like in a set instead of like jumbled up with different colors, because it gives a much more exclusive, much more expensive look to it, as if it was in a set. I wanted to wear the pendant and I tried it so many ways, but I think it's like too much, and then it's fighting with each other with the pendant and the brooch, so I decided not to wear it. And the next one that I would like to talk about is this brooch. I was very lucky to be able to come across this one because the seller didn't even realize that it is red jade. So a lot of the times when I bought very good quality pieces of jade that are very exclusive and special in design of a certain time period, the seller, especially those who are not into jewelry and who are selling other items or other vintage items, and then just put it on their shop listing, and I grabbed it immediately. It was a little bit pricey. They put it down as a gate, but this is actually a red jade, and as you can see, it is in the same family of the blood red jade. It is scattered with marcasite. So the combination of the luscious red jade with the sprinkling of the marcasite really makes it a very luscious combination, and I really love it. I'm very excited to add it to my collection. So who is the red jade appropriate for? Very often the red jade has been associated with a tonic for life. Truthfully speaking, the red jade is not suited for every single person out there. So I want to stress this point, even though it is sort of dubbed the tonic for life, very literally, because when you look at it, this is exactly why they term it as a red blood jade, because it totally resembles blood. What more do you need than blood coursing through your body for good health? However, the red jade is, as I mentioned, not suited for everyone. Number one, those people with poor and weak health constitution, this may be a little bit too overpowering for you, because the red jade has got a very strong chi or energy attached to it, and that is exactly why it is termed as a tonic for life, and probably not suited for someone elderly who is very weak in constitution. It is also not advisable for people who have very hot or quick temper, because that would actually make matters even worse, because red jade is very suited for people, for example, who have not much of a motivation for life, who lack motivation, who lack direction in life. Then this is the jade that is suitable and appropriate for you, because it would actually motivate you and help you to energize your life, help you to bring in good and very strong energy vibes into your life, so that you will be more motivated, so that you will be more focused on what you want to do with your life. So for example, if you do not know what to do with yourself, what career path to take, or you are at a crossroad and then you seem to have lost your sense of direction and you do not know which way is the best path for you, this is very suitable for you. It gives you a passion for life. I think that's the word that I'm looking for. So if you would like to know more about jade, I've done a couple of videos on it. I'll be linking the playlist towards the end, and if you have any questions that you would like to ask me about jade, you can comment down below. I usually answer to all of my comments, and I really hope that you have enjoyed looking at and admiring at these few pieces of fabulous red blood jade, as well as getting to know what are the benefits of wearing it. And I really hope that you will enjoy looking out for them when you're out hunting for jade, or out and about wherever that you are staying. I think the more that you look at jade, you will come to realize and come to appreciate it even more, and you would also be able to differentiate which ones are of a good quality and which ones are fake. Looking at the design of it, for example, like the pair of earrings that I have or the brooch that I have, you know it is authentic because it is the aesthetics is from that time period, and you know, looking at the gemstone, that it is authentic. I always love spending time making these videos during the weekends, and looking forward to your comments, especially when you tell me that you enjoy looking at them, and that really makes my day. So I'll see you again in my next video, and do take care. Goodbye.